Hi, baby.
The royal family at 10:10.
Bye, Deborah, baby.
And Before They Were Famous returns with a brand new instalment, Before They Were Famous 5.
See ya, wouldn't wanna be ya.
See ya, wouldn't want to be ya.
Oh, what a blessed Christmas, I can buy a bra.
All the stars and all the laughs. Christmas Day on BBC1.
This Christmas, a star-studded murder mystery with George Cole and Anna Massey,
Are you coming or what?
Elizabeth Spriggs,
Is she dangerous?
Michelle Collins and Kieran Hines.
Don't ever let me hear you say anything like that again. I don't want you causing trouble in the family.
And Eileen Atkins as the mother-in-law from hell.
She wants to get rid of me.
The Sleeper starts Boxing Day at 9:15 and concludes Wednesday at 9:05 on BBC1.
Now on BBC1, who's for more turkey?
Coming up.
Our Christmas pudding is down there somewhere, and you can be sure we shall dig till we get it. Cooey! Catherine!
Blackout, rationing, and being in danger of death have been a real tonic to me.
A host of stars join Victoria Wood with all the trimmings next on BBC1.
And then in 50 minutes, join the royal family. BBC1 makes Christmas special.
Congratulate you on your plastic surgery. Quite remarkable. But then it never bothered me when you looked like Tommy Cooper. Don't worry. My men are all around. We're perfectly safe.
Boxing Day night on BBC1 begins with romance and revenge.
If I can't have you, then no one else will.
As Lorna Doone continues at 7.
As long as you still want me, I will be yours.
It's the morning after the night before in EastEnders at 8:15.
Well, I think I'm gonna have a lie down because all this excitement's just worn me out.
Then at 9:15, curl up with Auntie's thermal bloomers.
A little laughter can go a long, long way.
And there's a festive murder mystery at 9:15.
Remember, you must remember.
With a Christmas from hell in The Sleeper.
Says she killed her own mother.
Boxing Day night on BBC1.
Do you recognize this man? Or this one? Or this one?
I know Chris Eubank.
He's armed and dangerous.
Why is there 13 sockets in the back of my head?
And he's taking no prisoners.
But he's a man. You is a woman. He's a bull. You is a cow.
Hang loose this Christmas for Lenny Henry in Pieces. Saturday at 9 on BBC1. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Yes!
Robbie Williams and Leonardo DiCaprio stars shining before they were famous in 40 minutes on BBC1.
This Christmas, a star-studded murder mystery with George Cole and Anna Massey,
Are you coming or what?
Elizabeth Spriggs,
Is she dangerous?
Michelle Collins and Kieran Hines.
Don't ever let me hear you say anything like that again. I don't want you causing trouble in the family.
And Eileen Atkins as the mother-in-law from hell.
She wants to get rid of me.
The Sleeper starts Boxing Day at 9:15 and concludes Wednesday at 9:05 on BBC1.
The news now on BBC1 with George Alagaya.
Searching for peace in the Holy Land, days left for Clinton to broker a deal. But Yasser Arafat says the president's latest plan does not break the deadlock. Comfort in difficult times, the Queen talks about what faith means to her. And a blitz on the railways, 8,000 staff work through the holiday on repairs. Good evening. With just weeks to go before the end of his presidency, Bill Clinton has imposed a Wednesday deadline for reaction to his latest Middle East peace plan. The Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat has said the plan still does not remove the obstacles to peace. From Jerusalem, our World Affairs editor John Simpson reports on the latest developments.
This may be a period of festival for Christians, Jews and shortly Muslims alike, but politics goes on. Yasser Arafat returned from a brief visit to Egypt, where he'd discussed the American compromise and the peace talks. The Americans want an answer from both sides by Wednesday. Mr. Arafat was less than enthusiastic. There are, he said, still many obstacles to be lifted before an agreement can be reached. This being Hanukkah, Ehud Barak, the Israeli Prime Minister, was doing some celebrating at an old people's home, and electioneering as well. There are only 7 weeks left before the most important election in Israel's recent history will be fought on the merits of any peace agreement. Christmas Day, amid all this, passed in gloomy fashion. Outside the church, where the Catholic Mass was held, Bethlehem remained empty and rain-swept. And in Muslim East Jerusalem, the shops were closing for what is virtually the end of the fasting month of Ramadan. Here too, the streets are empty and the atmosphere gloomy. The end of Ramadan will raise people's spirits here a little, but the coming week will show whether there's any real chance of a peace agreement. These are anxious days here. John Simpson, BBC News, at the Old City of Jerusalem.
In her traditional Christmas message, the Queen has talked in very personal terms about the importance of her Christian faith. She said it gave her great comfort in difficult times. She also spoke of other religions, saying they all emphasized spirituality. This morning she was joined by her family at church in Sandringham.
As yesterday, the Queen Mother was determined to get to church, and with the help of a golf buggy to the door and a supporting arm from the Prince of Wales, she led the family into morning worship. Several hundred people had gathered outside the church, and after the service the Queen Mother made her way down a flight of steps to greet some of the children with their bouquets of flowers. But the flower gathering by some of the other members of the family was brief, and some in the crowd said their presents had been snatched from them as the family hurried back to Sandringham House. The Queen's Christmas message this year focuses heavily on the millennium and on the importance of faith. A montage of pictures recalls the celebrations of New Year's night and the high-spirited scenes at the opening of the Millennium Dome. But at what the Queen calls the true Millennium Anniversary, it's time to be more thoughtful.
As this year draws to a close, I would like to reflect more directly and more personally on what lies behind all the celebrations of these past 12 months.
The Queen speaks about the importance of the spirituality which is to be found in all the great faiths.
The Bible, the Quran, and the sacred texts of the Jews and Hindus, Buddhists and Sikhs are all sources of divine inspiration and practical guidance passed down through the generations.
And then the Queen speaks with unusual candour about the importance to her of her own Christian faith.
For me, the teachings of Christ and my own personal accountability before God provide a framework in which I try to lead my life. I, like so many of you, have drawn great comfort in difficult times from Christ's words and example.
The Queen has never before spoken in such personal terms about the importance of her own Christian faith. She's done so now because she believes this is the real Millennium Anniversary, and perhaps she feels that this has been the Millennium Year's missing ingredient. Nicholas Witchell, BBC News, at Sandringham.
The Archbishop of Canterbury, Dr. George Carey, today compared the problems created by Britain's influx of asylum seekers with events surrounding the birth of Christ. In his Christmas Day sermon at Canterbury Cathedral, he said the story of the Nativity showed the problems of people rejected by those who could help. And in his Christmas message, the Pope has spoken out against violence and suffering in today's world. 50,000 people stood in the rain in St. Peter's Square to hear the 80-year-old pontiff. He also said he was thinking, with great concern, of the current troubles in the Holy Land. 2 Britons jailed a year ago for drug smuggling in the Gulf have been pardoned and are on their way home. Lynn Majakas, a head teacher at a special needs school, and Ian Bamling, a social worker, were jailed for 4.5 years after being caught in Abu Dhabi with a small amount of cannabis. The biggest ever Christmas repair programme is taking place on Britain's railways. 8,000 staff are working day and night to install new rails at more than 60 locations where faults were found after the Hatfield crash.
At Chorley in Lancashire, they've been busy throughout the day knocking the railways back into shape. Teams of workers on sizable incentives are busy replacing old track after the Hatfield tragedy was blamed on a broken rail. Railtrack subsequently identified dozens of locations in need of repair. Specialist heavy-duty machinery was lifted into place for what is the biggest ever Christmas engineering programme. As well as replacing some 25 miles of track, the 8,000 workers are putting in more than 50 sets of points at 60-odd locations. With well over 400 speed restrictions still in place as a result of the Hatfield crash, the rail network has been suffering severe delays. It's hoped this engineering blitz during the quiet period will lead to about 100 of these restrictions being lifted. The repairs are going on round the clock over the festive period, including here at Wimbledon in southwest London. Workers who do 8-hour shifts for 8 days stand to collect around £3,000, say the unions. According to Railtrack, about 85% of services should be back to their pre-Hatfield timetables by the end of January.
But this concerted repair campaign isn't just about getting services back to normal. It's also about trying to restore public confidence in rail safety. To this end, Railtrack is going to announce a major recruitment drive tomorrow aimed at attracting the sort of people who can keep the railways in shape. They'll even be trying to entice back engineers who'd taken early retirement, but whose expertise could now be invaluable. John McIntyre, BBC News, Wimbledon.
British Airways is to review security procedures after 2 stowaways died. The body of one man was found yesterday in a field in Surrey, which lies under the flight path for Gatwick and Heathrow. The other man was found this morning at Gatwick. Police are investigating the theory that the men were stowaways on a flight from Cuba. A man has died after falling while trying to climb Ben Nevis this afternoon. He was in a party of climbers who were about 2,000 feet up the mountain when he slipped and fell in wintry conditions. And snow fell across much of Scotland today, most of it in the Highlands. Parts of the north of England and Midlands were also able to enjoy a white Christmas, and scattered snow showers were reported as far south as Bristol. And that's all from the newsroom this Christmas Day. There will be news throughout the night over on BBC News 24, but from all of us, good night.
Good evening. As we've just seen on the news, it's been a cold Christmas everywhere with a distinctly wintry feel, and some places did have a white Christmas as far south as Bristol to Aberdeen in the north. And here we've still got a covering of snow in parts of the city. Now overnight, it's really the north. It's going to continue to see some snow driven on by a northerly wind. And in the south, we'll still see that cloud along the South English coast and the Channel Islands with the odd spot of rain and sleet. Elsewhere, it's going to be clear, very cold and frosty, temperatures as low as -5, even -6 Celsius. So if you are out and about travelling tonight, we may see ice on treated roads and pavements. And for tomorrow, we will continue to see the snow, particularly in the north. Certainly in the morning, we'll see it in northern Scotland, parts of Northern Ireland, running down the North Sea coast into northern England. Elsewhere across much of England and Wales, it'll be dry and bright with some sunshine, but we'll still keep that cloud along the South English coast and in the Channel Islands, giving us the odd spot of rain as we go through the day. But it's going to be another very cold day everywhere in that biting wind. Temperatures at best just a few degrees above freezing. And when we take into account the wind chill factor, it's going to feel more like -5, -6 Celsius. So if you are out and about for any length of time, do wrap up warm. Tomorrow night, it's going to be another cold and frosty night. And then on Wednesday, it'll be another cold day with some sunshine and wintry showers in the north. Bye-bye for now.
Boxing Day night on BBC1 begins with romance and revenge.
If I can't have you, then no one else will.
As Lorna Doone continues at 7.
As long as you still want me, I will be yours.
It's the morning after the night before in EastEnders at 8:15.
Well, I think I'm going to have a lie down because all this excitement's just worn me out.
Then at 9:15, curl up with Auntie's thermal bloomers.
A little laughter can go a long, long way.
And there's a festive murder mystery at 9:15.
Remember, you must remember.
With a Christmas from Hell in The Sleeper.
Says she killed her own mother.
Boxing Day night on BBC1.
He thinks his photographs are artistic and tasteful.
It's amazing.
Have you finished? I've got cramp.
But his loyal assistant has other ideas.
There's a demand for pictures of a certain kind. I'm talking about erotic.
Mr. Swan! Mr. Marsh!
Billy Connolly and Sarah Lancashire.
Oh, it's not my fault for getting into photography in the first place, but this is gentleman's relish.
A special treat for New Year's Day, 9:20 on BBC1.
You saw the film earlier here on BBC1. How did they do it? The making of Titanic, according to French and Saunders, in 40 minutes.
It's pretty hard to talk with a gob full of coin, isn't it? Laughing on the other side of your face tonight, Henry. Come on, $20 is our team will walk it in.
If you think you can go one better than this year's Deb of the Dentures, Miss Shania Twain, please contact us at Before They Were Famous, room 5025 at BBC Television Centre, Wood Lane, London W12 7RJ. Or you can email us at famous@bbc.co.uk.
Into the belly of the beast.
One man against the system.
What's wrong? What's the emergency?
Well, the emergency is this train has failed to make the mandatory scheduled stop.
One family against the odds.
We're starting up a bus company.
No, in my house, you know.
Just stick out your hand and pick you up.
A drama special.
People have been left stranded.
What's that got to do with you?
For evil to triumph, it requires only that good people do nothing.
Doing battle with giants.
What is going on here? We can't handle a couple of lunatics in the play school bus.
They're going after our route, Sandy.
Colin Firth is Donovan Quick.
Let the people say, we
showed our right!
Thursday at 9 on BBC1.
It's one bus, one family.
The mother-in-law from hell.
Come on, Claire. She's just a harmless old lady.
And her long-lost sister.
Is she dangerous?
Make one family's Christmas murder.
Says she killed her own mother.
But she said it was an accident.
Suggesting my brother has murderous intent towards you. Do you realise how bonkers that makes you sound?
Glass. How much more proof do you want, Fergus?
A Christmas mystery.
If you didn't find my friend, you can't have looked properly. Let go of my hand, you patronising creep.
The Sleeper starts Boxing Day at 9:15 and concludes Wednesday at 9:05 on BBC1.
So now on BBC1, before The Naked Gun 2.5, they're overboard and overacting, but will they do the accents?
French and Saunders, French and Saunders.
He thinks his photographs are artistic and tasteful.
It's amazing.
Have you finished? I've got cramp.
But his loyal assistant has other ideas.
There's a demand for pictures of a certain kind. I'm talking about erotic.
Mr. Swan! Mr. Marsh!
Billy Connolly and Sarah Lancashire.
Oh, it's not my fault for getting into photography in the first place, but this is gentleman's relish.
A special treat for New Year's Day, 9:20 on BBC1.
The Naked Gun 2.5 coming up on BBC1 after a Christmas message with a twist.
Do I look like a southerner, eh? Do I sound like a southerner? No. So why the heck do I have to go all the way to Bethlehem? 5 days walk each way. Oh, I won't know a soul when I get there. And do you know why? Because the Romans say that's the town where my family came from. Never mind that we haven't been there for what? 4 generations. Never mind that I've had to give up work to go to the tax office. You know what someone should do? Send them idiots back to their town of origin. It wouldn't be so bad if Mary wasn't pregnant. Hello, girls. Mary shouldn't be travelling at all. But I daren't let her stay. Her dad threw her out as soon as he found out. Blame me, of course. My mother, she was even worse. All my mates were saying I should just dump her. But I know Mary. She wouldn't even sleep with me before we were married, let alone anyone else. And she's not ashamed about the baby. She's absolutely made up. Doesn't care what anyone else thinks. Everybody says, what will the rabbi say? As if that's all that matters. But the funny thing is, the rabbi's been better about it than the lot of them. I thought he'd go mad when we first went to see him. And then Mary started telling him all about the angel and the stuff. But he didn't. He just hugged her and started spouting scripture. It was him who insisted on marrying us, despite my mother's protests. And not for Mary's sake, but for mine. He told me I should feel honoured. Well, I suppose that's one way of looking at it. Look at that. It's a lovely bit of wood, this. It's ash. Just look at that grain. But I wanted something a bit special for this. That's another thing about the Romans. They don't know the value of wood. I was in Cephris the other week and I noticed a whole pile of oak beams just outside the garrison wall. Oak, yeah? Well, I went in straight to see the quartermaster to find out what they're building, you know. See if they got any work going for a chippy like me. Do you know what it was for? Crosses. Bloody crucifixions. They've got some big noise coming out from Rome. So Herod thinks, you know, I've got to put a show on by stringing up a few petty thieves and zealots. What a waste. The things I could have made with that wood. Of course, now they've got used to the idea, my mates have decided that the baby's going to be a boy. And that I'll call him Joseph, after myself. Mary thinks it's a boy too. She's decided on a name for him and everything. She wants him to be a rabbi when he grows up. Yeah, right. Oh, Judith, that's my sister. She says they're all wrong. She even got Mary to lie down and did this test over her with a wedding ring on the end of a piece of string. She says that if it's a boy, the ring always starts spinning. And if it's a girl, then it stays still. Or is it the other way around? Do not forget. Anyway, Judith should know she's had 8 kids herself and guessed every one of them right. Yeah, a little lass. Rebecca, maybe, after her grandma. At least that'll get my mum back on my side. And my dad always used to say that girls always give you less grief anyway. Don't you believe it?
Boxing Day night on BBC1 begins